It's great, man. It's good to get back into the dorms for the first time since the early 90s. I think it's a good thing. It's great for staff unity and for camaraderie with the players. So a little bit old school, but I'm kind of liking it.
What have you seen from the offense through the first 4 practices here?
It's still early in the stages. I think the guys, what I've seen is I told them the other night, I appreciate the work they did in the summer. They made a huge jump in the summer just as a unit of knowing what to do, of how we do it. Leadership starting to step up at the top. I think they had a great summer. Our strength staff did an unbelievable job. The player run practices, I think the leaders on our offense did a really nice job, and you can tell it's a lot smoother transition, obviously, from the spring to the fall camp.
Who have you seen stepping up as the leaders?
I'm not going to say. If you say names, you usually miss one, but just the usual suspects. We challenged Jeff in the summer to really start to make this his team, and I think he did a really nice job amongst a lot of others.
How helpful has it been just with quarterback development? With the split practices and having a guy maybe in that second group, Shell or whoever.
It's unbelievable for every position. There's kids that have gotten nearly 100 reps the first 4 practices. That in most places they're not getting 50 the whole time they're in camp. So it may not be pretty ball all the time, but it's guys out there getting to compete. And they're getting better with every single rep, and in the long run, it's going to help us.
Is that it? Are you guys wrapped now on the split squad, or will you go back tomorrow to that?
That's 100% Coach Rule question.
At some point, though, you're obviously going to go to a full team practice. When you do that, how much do you think the reps that these young guys got or inexperienced guys got are going to benefit them and benefit you in knowing what they can do?
Yeah, well, we did a full team practice this morning. And, Coach Osborne's been unbelievable. Coach Rule, not speaking for Coach Rule by any stretch of the imagination, but, that was one of the things that Coach did really well. Everybody was moving on the field at the same time. And I think Coach has done a really nice job of just grinding a way of how we can do that. We don't have 190 players, obviously, but he's been very creative in making sure that if you were like a fly on the wall, you look out on the field, everyone on the field is doing something. And so even though we are together, everybody's still getting a lot of reps. Got a lot of reps today.
It's early, but what have you seen so far from some of your kind of summer arrival freshmen at the wide receiver position?
A lot of speed. A lot of speed. It's pretty impressive. They don't know what to do yet, obviously, but when they're just out there running routes, one-on-ones and stuff, they have a lot of speed.
Talking to Ben Scott later, what has he brought to the offensive line?
Just physicality, maturity. A guy that's played a lot of football. He's been here since last Christmas or last spring, and so feels like, I'm sure to him, he's been here his whole time. So that group is unbelievable. Like I've said before, just how close they are and the unit that they are. He's just made it just that much stronger.
How has Billy Kim stepped in? Has he stepped in one of those guys that stepped into a leadership role for you?
For sure. He's just so super competitive. It's so important to him. He's so respected, and he doesn't really say anything. It's just how he works and how he competes. And his leg could be falling off, and you got to pull him off the field. He's one of the most competitive kids I've ever been around. So he's doing a really nice job right now of leading those young kids and tutoring those guys in the meeting rooms as well.
In your experience as an offensive coordinator, how often have incoming freshmen, summer freshmen, been able to kind of pick things up enough to help in the month of September, early in the season?
A handful maybe in the month of September, but I think you will see later on, late in the latter parts of the season, where a kid develops and gets into a position where he can contribute, in some phases of the game. Obviously, it's not unheard of. There's freshmen all over the place that come in and play early, and if those guys can learn what to do and play and match the physical elements that they need, then we'll put them in. We don't care how old they are, as long as they produce.
What are the qualities you're looking for in a lead running back as that competition shakes out? What are those qualities that you're looking for?
Being dependent, knowing what to do, dependent in pass protection, dependent catching the ball, dependent in route running, dependent hitting your landmarks, just a guy that we can depend on. Obviously the physicality in which we play with, he needs to be able to be durable and get the ball downhill, run between the tackles, and I think it's going to take more than just one. It's going to take 2 or 3, especially in this league, the way these guys play defense. It's going to be a long year for a running back as much as we're going to run it.
Is that sort of the preference, is to not have maybe one feature guy but have 2 or 3?
The preference is to have Bo Jackson, right? But there's not a lot of Bo Jacksons that are out there. So we've got a room full of really talented guys that do a lot of different things. We don't want to be one of those teams that have 5 running backs to get 2 carries a game. We want some guys that have a role on our offense or in the offense. But it's going to take more than just one this year for us to be successful.
Guys are sick and tired of being sick and tired. Is that the sense you're getting from the offense as well?
I do, yeah. I mean, it's sick and tired of just talking, sick and tired of just hearing things. Like, we're just ready to go out there and work. And one of the things we talk about just earning the right to go play against Minnesota, of how we work and how we practice in the preseason.
What kind of role do you expect the fullback to have this fall? Do you have a target number of carries you'd like to use, or is that going to be more situational?
No target. I think there'll be, again, I'm not trying to have coach talk here, but there'll be certain games, certain defenses where they'll be utilized more, and there's some that maybe they're not don't have as big a role in that game, but it'll fluctuate. And it just depends on, we have tight ends, we have fullbacks, like they both can do the same things for the most part. It's just that fullback, in between the tackles can give you a little bit more of a vertical push at times. So we've got some young guys out there playing the position now, and it's fun to have a fullback on the field.
You said how much you're going to run how much you guys are hoping to run the ball this fall. Do you have a preference for how much you run versus pass?
No, it's just we have to be able to do it at a high level when needed. Like, we have to be able to run the ball in 4 minutes and run it well. We have to be able to run the ball in the red zone. Is that 60 times, 60-40? Is it 70-30? It could be 30-70, run to pass, and we're running it that well, getting 100, 6 yards of carry. So, different phases of the game are going to call for you to throw the ball and run the ball at a high level. We got to be able to do both whenever that time is needed.
Marcus, following up on the fullback question, with adding Liebentritt as a transfer this summer, does it allow you more freedom with Bonner, who you obviously used there in the spring? Can you use him more as a flex, as a tight end?
Yeah, and we said it when we first got here, like, we're a positionless offense. As funny as that sounds, like, you might be called a tight end, but you might also line up at receiver, you might line up at fullback, you might line up at running back, you might line up at quarterback, who knows, right? Everybody has a certain skill set, and we'll come up with all these weird plays and stuff of how to attack defenses. And if a guy's skill set calls for him to be in line or offline or a receiver, then he'll do that. So, those guys are good players, and we're going to get them out there on the field any way we can.
What have you seen from Liebentritt since he got here?
Just a smart, mature kid. I mean, he's played a lot of college football at a really good place, and he's been coached very well. He's got a high football IQ. He can do multiple things, and he's been good so far.
What is Josh Martin brought to the mix as a full-time assistant with you guys?
Really pleased with Josh. I mean, he's coached tight ends at a high level, at Arizona State, and then again at SMU. He's very confident. Like, it's amazing. We've not had to meet with the tight ends. Me and Garrett thought going in, like, we'll kind of go back and forth in the pass game, and then Donnie could help in the run game, and he's been rolling. Like, he hit the ground running on Friday, learned everything in install 1, install 2, and has 1 or 2 questions a day. But I mean, those guys know what to do, know how to line up. They're playing at a high level. They're playing with confidence, and I think he's doing a really nice job.
A guy like Nate Gordon, what kind of strides have you seen him take since you've gotten him?
He's, again, continues to get better. He had one of his better practices on practice 2, just running routes, stretching the field vertically, catching the football. I think he's very confident right now. I think he plays with a lot more confidence right now, and that's showing out there on the practice field.
All good, guys.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.